Hi, I'm Roxy Keller, and I am continuing to bake my way through the Great British Baking Show challenges. And it's time for the Showstopper for week 5 in 2017. So week 5 is pudding week, and the Showstopper is that the bakers are supposed to make an ornamental Trifle Tureen. I had never heard of that. So I watched them make it, and it looks a lot like an entremet, except you don't cover it with a mirror glaze. It's a layered cake, mousse, custard, gel, and after you turn it out, then you decorate it. So you might notice that I have a pot boiling behind me. That is actually for the previous episode, which was the signature challenge for pudding week. And so my pudding is steaming right now. It takes about 2 hours, so I didn't want to stand around and do nothing while it baked or steamed. So I decided to start working on my Trifle Tureen. So this recipe that I'm using, Sophie on the show made a raspberry and yuzu trifle tureen with white chocolate. I'm going to make strawberry and lemon. I have lots of lemons. I bought some beautiful strawberries, and it goes into a loaf pan, a small loaf pan. This is 8.5 by 4.5, and just to get that ready, I'm supposed to line this with plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator so that it will be cold and ready for the first layer, which will be the strawberry jam. The only thing I didn't like about the fact that they used this cling wrap is because it actually leaves little creases in the gel, but I guess that's acceptable. I have press and seal, which means one side is sticky, and I'm too afraid to put that on either way, so I'm going to put 2 pieces stuck together and then put it in there. Okay, I'm going to put that in the refrigerator to get it cold. Next, I need to make the strawberry jelly, and so I'm going to hull these strawberries and then weigh out 325 grams. The strawberries are cleaned and hulled, so I need 200 grams for the jelly. I'll put those in the saucepan along with sugar and gelatin, and then the rest are for slicing. So I'll put the gel on, I'll do a layer of jelly and then lay some thinly sliced strawberries on top of that. So I'm just going to cut these in kind of large chunks for the 200 grams for the jelly. Doesn't seem like a lot, but with the strawberries, I need to add 110 grams of white granulated sugar. And finally, I need to add the gelatin sheets. So the recipe calls for 6 grams, and I wasn't sure if my scale could measure that very well. So I did the math to figure out how much each one of these weighed based on what the package said, and it worked out about right. So 3.5 gelatin sheets weighed 6 or 7 on my scale, so that's what I'm going to use. So just put those sheets in cold water, and I'm going to give those a couple of minutes to bloom. So I don't add the gelatin yet. I just have the strawberries and the sugar, and I need to add 250 milliliters of water, which is just slightly more than a cup. Okay, now I'll put that on the stove top, and just like the raspberry jelly I made previously, I will bring this to a boil, let it boil for several minutes, maybe 6 to 8 minutes, and then take it off and add the gelatin. While the strawberry jelly is simmering, I'm going to start the custard. And first I'm going to mash the strawberries a bit with this masher, just to make sure we get all that good flavor out of it. For the custard, I need to start with 175 milliliters of what they call double cream. I have heavy whipping cream, and I can measure 175 milliliters on this. That's about 3/4 of a cup. I'll heat the cream on low until it is just about to start boiling, and then take it off the stove. For the custard, I also need to bloom some gelatin, and it says 4 grams. It also says 2.5 leaves. So I wasn't sure if their leaves were the same size as ours, but the math works out. So I'm going to use 2.5 of these long leaves. Once the cream has gotten to almost boiling, I'll take it off the stove, and then I need to mix it with the eggs, vanilla, and sugar. And we don't want to scramble the eggs, so we have to do a little bit of adding a little bit of the milk and then making sure we warm those eggs up very slowly. So I'm going to prepare the egg yolks. I need 2 egg yolks. So that's 1 egg yolk. And the second, 2 egg yolks weigh 32 grams. With the 2 egg yolks, I need 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. So it's a slightly thicker vanilla. I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon. And 70 grams of white granulated sugar. Okay, I'm supposed to whisk this until pale and creamy. Well, that didn't take as long as I thought. That's definitely a pale yellow color. The strawberries simmered for 6 to 7 minutes. So now I just need to add the gelatin. So it's just to squeeze that out. Whisk in the gelatin. I'm going to use my silicone whisk so that I don't damage my bowl. Okay, the custard is hot. I need to slowly pour the milk into the egg mixture. Kind of hard to do with only 2 hands. Okay, that worked all right. Now I pour the custard mixture back into the saucepan. Okay, now I need to heat that until it thickens and coats the back of the spoon. Almost does that now, but it definitely needs to be thicker. Okay, I need to strain the strawberry mixture. I don't think it's quite as important to do this with strawberries as it is with raspberries, but I'll go ahead and do it. Make strawberry jelly rather than strawberry preserves. Probably makes a prettier topping to the trifle. Now it's time to pour the strawberry jelly into the mold. Remember the mold I made with the plastic wrap in the loaf pan? I didn't think that was going to make very much, but made a nice bit, a nice amount. It says to decorate the jelly with the raspberries, so I think I'll just cut a few slices of strawberries and lay them in there. Should look nice. For the end pieces, I'm going to lay them so that this part will be up when you turn it up. Seems like that's a good way to do it. They're floating, so that'll be nice. There's a little bit of foam, but I'll take a picture and show it to you. Now I'm going to put that in the refrigerator to set. I'm stirring the custard on the stovetop and it's getting thicker. Okay, I think the custard is to the correct thickness because it's supposed to coat the back of a spoon. You make a line, and if it doesn't come back together, then that's thick enough. That's my understanding. Now I need to add the gelatin sheets. Remember, it was 2.5 sheets of gelatin. Squeeze it out. Add it in. And whisk that until it's dissolved. Okay, now I need to strain the custard into a bowl. Not much to strain out of that. I must have done well on mixing the eggs in. Okay, now the custard needs to cool, but I don't want it to cool too fast because I need to pour it over the jelly when the custard is still liquid. So hopefully that jelly sets up pretty quickly. I'm just going to set this to the side and wait for the jelly to set. Okay, for my Trifle Tureen, the very last layer will be a sponge. And there's also a mousse in there, but I'm waiting to make that. So I'm going to make the sponge now. I need to start the sponge by whisking the egg whites. I will add the yolks later. I'm supposed to add a pinch of salt to the egg whites. And then mix to a soft peak. Pretty quick. Soft peak. Yeah, I think that's good. Now I'll add half of the granulated sugar, and they call for 65, so I'll add 32 grams. I'll continue to whisk the egg whites, and I'll add the other half of the granular sugar to the egg yolks and whisk until pale yellow. So 33 grams of white granulated sugar go here. To the egg yolks, I also need to add half a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. That was probably a teaspoon. This was the wrong bowl to whisk this in because I ended up flinging part of it over on the floor. I'm going to try to add in what I lost on the floor, so I'm going to put in half an egg yolk, a little bit of sugar, drop of vanilla bean paste, because it needs to be pale and fluffy, but you also need to see a ribbon when you lift up your whisk, and I'm not there yet. It's getting thicker. So I think ribbon means that when you lift some up, it takes a second for it to blend back in. So I'm going to say I'm there. I feel like this is probably one of those special French cakes, like a dacquoise or a genoise or Francoise. I don't know. But if anybody knows, let me know, because all they call it on the recipe is sponge. Okay, so now it says to fold the egg whites into the egg yolks. The whites are basically a meringue now, since I added the sugar. Fold, cut and fold. Now I need to sift in 55 grams of all-purpose flour. Fortunately, I have a clean sieve or sift. A clean sifter. Fold that in. Now it's time to put the sponge into this small baking tin and bake it. Then it says when you take it out, you have the option of brushing on some limoncello, lemon liqueur, and I don't have any of that, so I thought I would add a teaspoon of powdered lemon juice just to give it a little lemon flavor. To the custard, I was supposed to add the lemon juice as well. So it says, so she was using yuzu juice, and it said 100 milliliters. But I don't know if that yuzu was concentrated. So I think I'm just going to add 50 milliliters of concentrated lemon juice. So I'm adding that to my custard. Stir in the lemon powder. I have a silicone mat on here, but I'm also going to spray it just to help with the edges. Also, because if this is a dacquoise, I tried making one of those one time and it was a complete failure. So we'll see how this goes. Spread that. It's going to be so thin. It's going to take about a minute to cook. Okay, it says to bake for 15 minutes. The oven is preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to check it after about 8 minutes. Okay, so I have the jelly that is setting, and I just put it in the freezer because it's not even close to being set yet. I have the custard ready, and I have the cake, the sponge, in the oven. And there are two more layers. So the white chocolate bavarois, which I tried to look up the word and it doesn't really give me a definition, but one thing I found said it was a set cream similar to a mousse, and that is going to be white chocolate. Then the strawberry mousse I also need to make. Well, I'm glad I didn't pay attention to what the recipe said because this only took about 8 minutes to bake. And I'm not going to need all of this for the trifle, so hopefully it tastes good. I'm going to set it aside to cool. Okay, the strawberry jelly is finally set, or almost set, so I'm going to pour in the custard. Back in the freezer. Now for the white chocolate bavarois. I need to bloom 2 sheets of gelatin. I need 125 grams of white chocolate into a heat-proof bowl. It says it needs to be good quality white chocolate. Well, this says it's premium Belgian chocolate, so seems like it's good to me. It says the white chocolate needs to be chopped, so I'm just going to poke it a bit. 125 milliliters of whole milk. So I've got 100 milliliters of 2% milk and 25 milliliters of heavy cream into a saucepan. Heat until almost boiling. 2 egg yolks. 15 grams of granulated sugar. Half a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. Starting to sound like a broken record. I'm tired of whisking by hand, so pulled out the hand mixer. I need to whisk this until light, pale, and thick, and I'm tired of doing it with a whisk, so gradually whisk in the hot milk. Back into the pan and heat until it coats the back of a spoon. Okay, it's off the stove. Now I need to put in the gelatin. Get that mixed up. Now I'll strain the custard over the white chocolate. I'm supposed to let this sit for 1 minute and then stir. I waited the 1 minute and it's stirring up very nicely. Couple of pieces still not quite melted. To the white chocolate custard, I need to add whipped cream. So I have 150 milliliters of whipping cream. I'll whip that up in the stand mixer. The recipe actually calls for 175 milliliters, but I'm out of whipping cream, so we'll see what I can do with the raspberry mousse. My whipped cream is whipped, but the white chocolate custard needs to be very cool before I add the whipped cream, so I stuck that in the freezer, and I'll stick this in the refrigerator so it will stay cold. For the white chocolate bavarois, the custard is now cool, so I'm gonna fold it in with the whipped cream. And I also need whipped cream for the mousse. So I ran out and my amazing husband has run to the store to get me whipping cream. So if you see him, tell him how awesome he is. Finally, the final layer is the mousse. Okay, I got the strawberry puree to boil, so now I'm going to strain it. "125 milliliters of heavy whipping cream." I need to whip that until it becomes whipped cream. I'm not sure how long the microphone was out. I apologize. I whipped up the whipped cream for the strawberry mousse. That was 125 milliliters of heavy whipping cream. Now I just need to fold it in with the cold raspberry puree. Fold the strawberry puree into the whipped cream. It's not super sweet. I would prefer it to be a little sweeter, but some people will like it like this. The first half of the chocolate bavarois is set, so now I'll add the mousse. Okay, I'm going to set that in the freezer so it can cool quickly. Then I'll put the other half of the chocolate bavarois on top of that. Barely fit. The mousse really did set up quickly, so now I just need to put the last layer of the white chocolate bavarois. I'll stick this back in the freezer, hold it to set, and then while it's setting, I'm gonna cut the cake, the sponge. I'm gonna make it 22 by 12 centimeters. Then when this is set, I'll put that cake on, wrap the whole thing in some plastic, and let it set really hard before we cut it. Since the batter didn't quite fill out the pan, there's some uneven spots, so I want to try to pick a spot where it's all about the same thickness. Okay, I think that's a good piece. Makes me think of a sponge. It kind of has a very spongy texture. Okay, the bavarois is set enough that I can put on the cake or the sponge, and yeah, that fits very nicely. So now I just need to wrap it up, and I made another one of my little cling wrap things here. Wrap it up so that it can set really hard before I turn it out of the pan. That's going back in the freezer. Okay, it's been about an hour, so I'm ready to unwrap this thing. All right, let's see what happens.
Wow. Some nice layers. Ta-da.
Ta-da! I'm supposed to decorate it, like with some.
It's good.
Yeah. I'm supposed to decorate it with like some white chocolate decorations or something, but I think I'm too tired. I think we should just cut into it. Okay.
What? No argument for me.
What do you think?
It looks really good.
Okay.
Not difficult to cut, huh? Ooh, nice layers.
Maybe the first one's just the most difficult one to get off.
Touch messy, but is it supposed to be in the fridge longer?
I mean, everything's set.
Yeah.
So, let me tell you. This is the sponge.
Okay.
Then we have a layer of sponge. Then we have a layer of white chocolate bavarois,
Ooh.
then a strawberry mousse, another layer of chocolate bavarois, a lemon custard, and then a strawberry jelly.
It's really good.
Oh, did I get that knife next to you?
It's okay. All right. Well, let's see how it tastes. It looks great. Try everything and
And we might get some of the jelly too.
strawberry layers. My gosh, it's good. Yay! Try the bavarois in the mousse.
That's the mousse. That's the white chocolate bavarois, and that's the lemon custard.
Oh, it's all delicious. Every part of this is delicious. The only regret I have is the piece is so thin.
I'll get you another. You can have another piece. He went and got the whipped cream for me, so it's only because of him that the mousse got done.
Happy to do it.
It may not be perfect, but it's definitely pretty good for the first try. First time I've ever made a tureen.
Wonderful. I think you guys should try one. Definitely. Good job.
And I'm not a professional baker, so if I can do it, you can do it.
Says you. No, I mean the professional baker.
I gotcha.
Yeah, wonderful. Delicious.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, that is the Showstopper Challenge for week 5 of 2017, the ornamental Trifle Tureen, and I think it was a success. I'm really excited to try it myself. Next week starts pastry week, so get to try a couple of different types of pastries, and I'm really excited about that. Thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Okay, so I took my strawberry lemon trifle tureen into work and let people try it, and let me share with you what they thought. I ate the last piece. The top layers were light, but the bottom layer was kind of dense and chewy. That's that cake dacquoise or whatever that is on the bottom, maybe from being around for a bit. I don't think that's what it was. It was just, I don't really like that final, cake layer at the bottom either. I think it would be better to put some sort of a graham cracker on that. Maybe we could even put a solid graham cracker and then flip it over and let that kind of soften up. Maybe 2 layers of graham crackers. So I don't disagree on that. 10 on everything. The separation of color in the layers was impressive. Not sure how this could be improved. It was simply amazing. Cool. And I don't know who that was. 10 on everything. So yummy. Texture and flavors were perfect. So this one was definitely a hit. This one makes me laugh though. Appearance 9, creativity 9, color and shape 8, texture and flavor 4. Tastes great, but I do not like jiggly food. That just makes me laugh. Like, okay. 10 on everything. She put 100 on texture and flavor. This is a favorite. It's so light and fluffy. The flavor is spectacular. Wow, I could eat the entire thing. 8, 9, 8, 8, and no extra comments. 10, 10, 10, 7 on texture and flavor. I don't prefer cheesecake, but the flavor was good. Just tasted similar to cheesecake. That one's kind of surprising, I guess. Didn't really taste like cheesecake to me, but yeah, I think probably they just had cheesecake in mind, because of the texture, but anyway. overall, I think it was a big hit, and it's a lot of work, so I might do it on special occasions.